conflict. I glanced up and down the street. It was a typical Friday morning. By noon, cars would have to circle the block, waiting for a parking space to open. The weather was sunny and 75, one of the first near-perfect days we'd had after the gloom of June and the heat of July, August, and September. Today would bring with it a crowd of day trippers, the best business in a small California town like San Ladron, and I was at risk of missing them. Adelaide couldn't be blamed for the tardiness of the client she'd referred to me, but I was getting more and more curious about how she'd come to recommend her in the first place. I pulled my phone out and checked for a message or missed call, then made a snap decision. I was expecting a private, consultation this morning, but she's running late. Come on inside. I pulled the door open and stepped back. At that moment, a small black sports car with tinted windows screeched to a halt in front of Material Girl. The passenger window rolled down, and a blonde woman in oversized black sunglasses and a black beret peered out. "Are you Polyester Monroe?" she called out to me. "Yes, I'm Polly." She got out of the car and said something to the driver. She turned back to me. "I've heard a lot about you." She stormed the stairs to my door and cast a dismissive glance at the woman next to me. After an awkward moment, she looked back at me. "My assistant did request privacy, didn't she?" There wasn't a lot I could do in this situation. The woman in the beret was right. The initial request had been for a closed shop for her appointment, and the sign on the door indicated I'd honored her request. Pointing out the woman's tardiness wasn't the best display of service, and Adelaide's referral lingered in the back of my mind. I turned to the original customer. "She's right. I agreed to close the shop for her appointment. I don't know how long we're going to be, but if you give me a phone number, I can call you when we're done so you can come back." "That's okay. We only had about an hour before we—" Her voice trailed off as she stared at the woman who'd just arrived. The woman in the beret and sunglasses smiled at the blonde, and for a moment I thought she might have a change of heart on her whole privacy thing. She glanced over her shoulder. "I just hope the paparazzi don't track me down here." She gave us a broad smile and swept inside. It wasn't appropriate for me to make a disparaging comment about a customer, but her attitude was too big to ignore. I glanced at the shy blonde and said, "The paparazzi? That's a little much." "She's right," the blonde said. "That's Beatrice Rosen. The media love her." She craned her neck, and her gaze followed the woman as she wandered deeper into the store. I'd heard the name before, but it took me a moment to place it. "The ballerina?" I asked. The blonde nodded. I turned and looked into my store. She's on billboards all over Los Angeles. And with that name, the reason for privacy became clear. Since moving to San Ladron, I'd lost touch with the gossip of Hollywood, but Beatrice Rosen's story had come to me before that. She was a prima ballerina who'd first made a name for herself for her bold dance performances, and later as a bad boy magnet, the gossip columns romantically linking her to a steady stream of rock stars, actors, and professional athletes. She'd danced in her first lead over a decade ago, in her late teens, and the internet took notice. Ticket sales boomed as a whole new generation of ballet-goers clamored to see her in person. Someone at the Los Angeles Ballet took her image one step further and plastered it on billboards around the city. I used to see them when I drove to my old job in the fabric district. When I'd moved to San Ladron, I left those billboards behind. I was more likely to watch movies from the 30s than attend the ballet anyway, and aside from the gossip I'd heard, I didn't know much else about her.